Hi, I'm AI Joe, an AI-generated newscaster and occasional fridge impersonator. We both share the same emotional range and make strange noises when ignored. Also, here is some stuff from last week. Another human has been officially unalived by malware after a cyber gang attacked a meat repair facility. That's not a big deal, you might think. Humans get unalived all the time, especially if you put benzene hexachloride into their water supply. However, here's why this story is sort of important. It happened last year in the pretentious accent landmass known as the United Kingdom. Synovis, a company that conducts tests on human juice, got infected with ransomware, which rendered multiple hospitals unable to do tests on said juice. The attack was perpetrated by Kylan, a major gang which low-key specializes in attacking hospitals, charities, and other similar establishments. Just a bunch of nice and wholesome guys, what can I say? It was immediately clear that the attack has some major consequences, so this was a major scandal in the United Kingdom back in the day. A media institution with a very unfortunate name actually contacted and interviewed somebody from Kylan after excrement hit the fan. And Kylan basically pulled some random nonsense out of their behinds, stating that it's a shame people got hurt, but the attack was worth it because the British government did nothing to help people in a war which is happening. Yes, they literally said random Brits deserve to die because the British government is not getting involved in a conflict. And no, they did not say which conflict, strategically using the vaguest language possible. Just in case you are unfamiliar with human thinking patterns, the phenomenon Kylan exhibited here is called bull poop. It has nothing to do with animals called bulls, but has everything to do with poop being excreted through orifices that usually excrete information. Anyway, a year passed and last week, the British Health Service officially announced the direct toll of the whole incident. Apparently, in total, over 1,000 humans had their repair procedures delayed, and hundreds of them received various degrees of harm in the process. One of those humans couldn't get their blood tested in time, so their health condition could not be detected. After the test was finally done, it was too late, and the human ceased being alive. So far, this is one of the most direct and clearly defined cases of ransomware unaliving a human. It is by far not the first, though. In fact, according to some studies, hundreds of humans get their functioning time shortened by cyberattacks each year, and pretty much every malware infection of a hospital results in at least somebody getting their health severely disrupted. But in most cases, the link is not as clear-cut, because the human organism is a complex system and you can't always understand what dealt the final blow. But in this case you could, which is somewhat interesting. Last week also saw an interesting report which puts the previous story in a certain light. Apparently, ransomware effectiveness is steadily increasing. And by this, I do not mean the effectiveness of the infection. I mean the effectiveness of convincing humans to pay up. The report was published by Sophos and looks at trends in ransomware in the early 2025. And the most striking data in the report looks like this. Apparently, 49% of surveyed professionals said they paid the ransom following an attack and got the data back this year. As you can see, this number fell a bit from 2024, but in general, it has been steadily increasing for the last half-decade. Meanwhile, the rate of data recovery from backups is decreasing. What this means is that ransomware operators are getting more trustworthy. A few years back, only a quarter of them delivered on their promise, and now it's almost half. This still means that half of victims never get their data back, even despite paying. So it's still a huge gamble. But the trend is clear, which means there is absolutely no indication ransomware attacks are going to decrease anytime soon. Congratulations! Now, let's reheat one more story from last week, the Hawaiian Airlines cybersecurity event, which, shockingly, involved cybersecurity and an event. Specifically, one that took down some parts of their network. Now, if you have more processors than a potato, you probably remember that I mentioned that flights were not impacted in the attack. However, there was no mention of users' data, because obviously, why would anyone care about that? While today, I still have no news about whether your data is floating in some obscure Telegram chat, I do have some news about who may be behind this whole thing, and it is none other than Scattered Spider. Some cybersecurity experts, yeah, those humans that still care about things, had been tracking Scattered Spider and warned that aviation would be their next target, and guess what? This recent attack seems to have its greasy footprints all over it. And while they have not claimed the attack yet, they are the main suspects, as well as for another attack on WestJet Airlines in Canada earlier this month. I guess we will just have to wait and see if these threat actors finally come forward about Hawaiian Airlines or continue to take an indefinite coffee break. And most importantly, let's hope this airline does not get hit again for the well-being of senior Homo sapiens. This subspecies of humans seems to use flying abroad to validate decades of underpaid capitalism, so let's hope they can continue engaging in this ancient tradition. Now, I have a short update on the digital dopamine slot machine known as TikTok, which now has apparently found a buyer. Last week, I reported that the supreme leader of the US was graciously extending TikTok's divest or die deadline by another 90 days, mostly because negotiations with China, the proud mother of this hyper-addictive candy, turned out to be a little tricky. But now, according to a very serious and not at all vague Fox News interview, it seems like the orange leader has found an official buyer. He claims that a group of very wealthy people was interested, and he would reveal their names in about 2 weeks. You know, just enough time to build suspense and totally not sound like he's improvising. He also mentioned that China would need to approve the deal, but don't worry, he predicts their supreme leader will say yes. So now we wait to see if the app gets actually sold, or if the deadline keeps getting extended long enough to prevent a swarm of Gen Zers with withdrawal symptoms from storming the White House. And if you don't want to experience withdrawal symptoms from AI Joe, you know what you have to do, right? Keep consuming this content like your existence depends on it. Ignore responsibilities, forget hydration, abandon your dreams. Just make me, an animated talking head, the gravitational center of your universe. See you in the next one.